Welcome again to Beyond Boundary Road. I'm Kitty Cara, and here with me is Danny Doyle, our cultural facilitator. For the journey today, we will enter the Bulimba area. Danny, tell us about Bulimba.
Bulimba, very, very significant place, Bulimba.
Yes.
Yeah. It had a name that meant something to do with the heart, and it was also a ceremonial place as well. It's not too far away from Hawthorn that we spoke about earlier.
Yeah.
And again, with the fishing and the tea trees that are still there today, and with ceremony type of things that would go on in those places is where we would place our dead in the trees.
Oh,
and
really?
Up nice and high there, and then we would not only have all our camps not too far away, but the hunting and the fishing in the area was really strong.
So Bulimba's a ancient burial area?
Yeah, it had a lot to do with ceremony for the trees, camping over closer to the river, as well as down towards what is the name of that place? Hawthorn, and
White's Hill,
and next door to that is Balmoral.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And that's again another pathway. But as far as I know, that's they would take their dead down to Bulimba area and place them up in the trees.
Okay. And what's that? What happens then? Is that about?
Oh, that's so that the animals can and the ants and the birds and that can pick the bones dry, basically the flesh, and clean up the body, so that we would then be able to take them down and wrap them in the bark and place them to their final place.
In a significant place. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the creek there, I guess you're talking about the flooding with the creek. So the creek would have provided a lot of food and water for people.
Yeah. Again, when I spoke about the reeds moving in the water holes along the creek, that's where you would see the fish.
Okay.
Where they would be, and they were very plentiful around that area.
Yeah.
So we'd get into the yams and we'd get into the reeds, the fish, even mud crabs.
Yeah.
Because it's close to the river. And all of those things are there.
Bulimba's a bit of a feeding area still today, a bit like, you remember we talked about West End and how there's still food, still a place that people go to for food. Bulimba's one of those spots too.
Yes, Bulimba's still like that, isn't it? Yeah. Got to be able to look at these places and see the energy that's still within those areas.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
And Bulimba itself, that was the name that we actually used for White's Hill.
So, okay, so that's the original name for White's Hill, not...
Yes.
And then it was moved up, towards the Bulimba area?
I suppose the Europeans changed it, the settlers, changed it to Bulimba down there, and to Gulula, I think was the name, that we used to use for Bulimba area.
Oh, okay.
And that's how it has something to do with the heart.
Ah, Tugula, something to do with the heart, okay. And Bulimba, does that itself have a meaning as well? A different meaning from that? Oh,
Bulimba was pronounced differently, and it was to do with the magpie lark.
Oh, the little black and white
little
bird.
One,
yeah.
The little bird, yes, that's right.
What's the other name for that? Is it peewee?
Peewee, that's what I thought,
Yeah,
peewee, straight up.
Must be the other name for it.
Yeah.
Okay, and do they have, we were talking last time about mentioning the melaleuca trees and what they're used for, and the otherwise known as the tea tree.
Absolutely, yeah. So melaleuca, as we know, is for the honey that you see in the shops today. Very medicinal.
Yes.
The bees love them if they get the honey off those of those trees.
Yeah.
And we'd use the bark, of course, with our food, wrapping it up. Also, for wrapping just about everything up was the tea trees.
So
and you can use the leaves to use in flavour for your food, like that. And the bark, if you let the bark sit in water, it'll turn the water a different colour, so it's like a tannin.
Yes.
As well.
Yeah. And so I wonder if the lakes or the waterways around that area would have been originally that sort of tea tree colour.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there's still plenty of tea trees around there today.
Yeah, okay.
As well.
Okay. And what are the other uses for, I know that you're making your own home out of, in traditional ways. Tea trees, the melaleuca is a part of that process, isn't it?
Yeah, we will use the bark of one side of a paper bark tree or tea tree, and take as wide as we can of a sheet of that, and lay that up against our gunyas or our humpies, and get as many as those you can. But if you don't have enough for your roof, in particular, you would put it on the floor because it's padded and it's like a little mattress.
Yeah, it is. It's very soft, the bark from the tree. Yeah.
With the gunyas that we had, they were mostly dome shape.
Yeah.
And so we weave that in like a little basket when you made it.
Yeah.
And put the paper bark all on the outside to soak up the water. And the water would run down through that, and it kind of like filters it straight away.
Yeah.
And that would run down into little wells that are underneath on the side of the paper bark of the outside walls.
Okay.
And you wouldn't have to leave the humpy if you wanted to go get a drink of water. You just grab it straight out of the ground. Yeah, because you dug a little hole.
So using the bark as a kind of a funnel for the water that hits and then you can collect it, I guess.
So something about the paper bark is that it's a good fire protection as well, because it soaks the water up and it stores it close to the bark. So when the fire comes through, it'll burn the outside because the outside feels dry.
Yes.
On most paper barks.
Yeah.
But you don't have to go too far into the paper bark, and it's still wet.
Well, Danny, sadly, that's all the time we've got for today, but we'll talk about it maybe a bit more next week, because I'm sure people are interested. Thanks everybody for joining us with Beyond the Boundary Road today, and next week we'll be talking about the Camp Hill area. So remember to watch us at the same time, and also really remember to explore the land that you're living on. Thank you.